The topic, Roth IRA strategies for physicians. You've probably heard of the term Roth IRA, and it is probably my favorite account. I don't want to pick favorites, but I'm just saying it is a pretty cool account. And the goal today is to walk through 8 strategies that you may have not have heard of before. Some of them, sure, maybe we have covered before, maybe you've read about them before, or maybe you've seen them in a different blog post. Also, at the end, hit some reasons why we believe they're important for certain generations. So we're going to walk through all of that together. This is a complex topic, so I plan to give you kind of the highlights of these 8 strategies. From there, you're likely going to have to dig in a little bit with your own financial planner and likely bringing in your accountant as well. Regardless, we're going to give you 8 unique ways to put some Roth strategies in play for you and for the ones that you love. That's all coming up next, so stay tuned. Okay, before we get into all the details, what is a Roth IRA? In short, a Roth IRA is an account that you are going to put an after-tax contribution, so money that you've already paid taxes on, into this Roth IRA. Now, with our clients being physicians, most of the time, income is too high for you to go directly to a Roth. So in this example, we have to add an extra step where we call this the Backdoor Roth IRA. I won't get into the details of the Backdoor Roth. That's all over our blog. That's a simple Google search. But just keep in mind, if you are a high income professional and you thought, I didn't even know I could get money into a Backdoor Roth, you can. It's called a Backdoor Roth IRA. Just make sure you're following all the rules, fine print, make sure you don't have other IRA balances in place, creates this thing called a pro rata rule. So just keep those in mind. But what a Roth IRA is, you're going to put in those after-tax dollars, and the goal here is to grow tax deferred. So one of the main benefits of a tax qualified account. And then when you go to pull the money out, it's completely tax-free, assuming that we follow all the qualified rules to get that money out. Why do we love the Roth IRA? Well, in baseball, there's a term called your utility player. Utility player is someone that might be able to play shortstop, first base, left field, right field. You can move them all around. They have a lot of different tools that they can utilize to be an attribute to your team, right? That's how I think of the Roth IRA. We can use it in a lot of different ways, but the reason why we love the Roth most importantly is because we know what the balance is. And I always use this example with our clients. If you have $1 million in an IRA, do you really have $1 million? No, you still have to pay taxes. So let's just say hypothetically, you pulled everything out and it's a one-time tax bill of 30% to keep things simple. You don't have $1 million. You actually have $700,000. But if we use that same example with a Roth IRA, $1 million in a Roth IRA is $1 million. You've already paid Uncle Sam, and that's really what a power is. In a perfect world, I always tell our clients, if you could retire and have 3 evenly dispersed buckets, you'd have some pre-tax assets. Think of that as like your 401k, 403b, 457b, even an IRA in this example. You're going to have after-tax assets. That's our Roth IRA bucket. And then we'll also have a taxable bucket. So think of that as like your traditional brokerage account, whether that's an individual account or a taxable account. So the beauty of the Roth IRA is it's given us after-tax dollars to get access to in retirement. That's why we love the Roth. And that's just a quick little intro there. Now we'll get into some of these strategies as well. All right, first up, a savings tool for young investors. And by young investors, I really mean younger physicians. In this example, we're just trying to get started sooner than later with this Roth. And the reason why we emphasize the word young here is usually this is referring to our physicians in training, right? While you're in your residency or your fellowship, this could be a great time to be getting money into a Roth. Why? Well, most likely you're in your lowest tax bracket for a very long time. There's also some unique rules that you can get access to the Roth IRA. Now, I don't want you to think of it that way. And also, if you're doing backdoor Roth IRAs, it already adds in a 5-year window, so it doesn't work out that cleanly. We're going to put the blog post in the show notes below. We'll have some more context in the actual blog post. But first one is one of our favorites. It's just getting money into that Roth as early as possible when it makes sense. So again, coming to our group of people, our physicians, this is where in residency or fellowship, this could make a lot of sense. And you can even plug in here, if your program offers a Roth 403b or a Roth 401k, you could also plug that in here. Key thing in here is getting started sooner than later to take advantage of that Roth. But likely as a physician, you will be in a short window where you're going to use the Roth. And then after that, you're likely going to convert more towards traditional pre-tax investing besides your backdoor Roth. So just keep that in mind. This is not a set it and forget it. You got to keep an eye on where your income is currently and then where it's going. All right, next up pertains to any of our physicians that are practice owners or you're getting 1099 income and you have your own solo case set up. But there is a unique item out there called QBI, your Qualified Business Income Deduction, or a 199A, which in this example, the more pre-tax dollars you have, you may benefit more from a larger deduction. And by pre-tax, I mean you may not be trying to lower your taxable income by as much because of the way that this deduction works. So this has been a unique strategy for the past few years now, where it might make sense to put more money into a Roth 401k in this example because it allows you to have a larger deduction. This is one that you will certainly want to talk through with your CPA, your accountant, your tax consultant. Ideally, you're working side by side with a great financial advisor as well, and you have the team working on this together. But it's one of those really unique opportunities where even in your higher earning years, a Roth could still make sense while the QBI is still around. Will it get extended? Who knows? But for now, it is a strategy. It's also high on our list because this is one that is very unique and one that could be a fantastic long-term play for you. Number 3, an avenue to prioritize tax-free withdrawals. This really goes back to the intro on trying to get those perfectly evenly distributed buckets, where that's pretty much impossible to do. There will be a golden opportunity in here. I actually call them the golden years, when a physician will retire, so income stops or slows, right? And then there's another important age called RMDs, required minimum distributions. Luckily for us, that continues to get pushed back further and further into our 70s currently is where it sits. But in those years, there could be really good years, really good years to convert pre-tax assets to a Roth. So we call these Roth conversions. Different than Backdoor Roth IRAs, but we call them Roth conversions. And this can be a significant tax savings. Sometimes this is one of our largest tax savings we can find in a financial plan. You know, sometimes it gets into 6 figures depending on how much money's in there and how much we can transition. The key is you got to have money available to pay the tax bill, right? You're actually on purpose, you're creating a larger tax bill in a given year because we know what the tax bill is going to be, because we know what tax rates are for that year, to then convert it to Roth, which is now tax-free withdrawals for future years that we don't know what tax rates are going to be. So essentially you're trying to take advantage of today, and remember, income is low right now because you've stopped working and you didn't start RMDs yet. So this is a really neat strategy. We call it Roth conversions. You can use it at different parts of your career. For us in particular, with our physicians, the main years that we really focus on this are the working years slow down, income slows down in between when those RMDs start. So keep an eye out for a really cool strategy, which we label as Roth conversions. All right, number 4, I'm just going to call it an extra savings bucket for our kids. Now, as a physician, I would not be utilizing your personal backdoor Roth IRA to set this up. I would think of this more in the years where our children have earned income. So if your child made $10,000 at their summer job, help them open up a Roth IRA. Whether they want to put in their full funding to do that, or you want to give a little match per se from mom and dad, you could also do that. But that's where this one's going to be more powerful. Those years where they have that earned income to get that money in there, and then you're going to get a lot of years, we're talking decades, where they can get that compounding tax-free growth in the long run. And another neat trick for any of our business owners, or if you have 1099 income, this could be one where also maybe you're actually paying your children. Now, again, work with your tax professional here, work with your advisor to make sure it checks all the boxes. You can't just go pay your kids, 10 grand per year because they shredded 2 pieces of paper. So make sure you're following all the rules. But Roth IRAs, fantastic savings tool for our children, whether they're earning their own income or maybe you're paying them based on how your business is set up or 1099 income. But really neat tool here for number 4. Utilize that Roth for your children. All right, next up is providing a safety net for any of our physicians that are aiming for early financial independence, early retirement. And what we mean by this is whenever you retire before age 65, you're pre-Medicare age, so you're going to need health insurance somewhere. And what a lot of physicians don't realize is that there are a lot of nice tax credits provided to you depending on where your income is. Now, in full disclosure, most physicians have a lifestyle that they are accustomed to. So this can be hard to pull off, but if you are close to one of those levels where you're getting a huge tax credit versus maybe no tax credit at all to help on those insurance premiums, the Roth IRA is a beautiful safety net because you can get funds out of there pre-retirement age, again, following all the qualified rules, where you don't have them show up on your tax return, right? So it keeps your taxable income or the thresholds that they're paying attention to for these tax credits below certain thresholds. So this is one of those hidden gems of Roths where, for most of our physicians being Gen X, Gen Y, we're not thinking this far in advance, right? You're not thinking like, oh, I wonder how I'm going to get my tax credits. But that is one thing here at WealthKill that we're always keeping an eye on to make sure like, hey, this is another hidden gem inside of the Roth, just in case. Maybe we don't need it, but it's nice having this tool in our tool bag here because maybe we can get a huge advantage of it. So number 5 is just giving you a little extra safety net depending on where you are in terms of your early financial independence or early retirement. Number 6, avoiding the dark horses. What dark horses are you talking about, Chad? Well, this is one of those things you probably don't think about again early or on in your accumulation years, but something called IRMAA I gotta always look this one up. Medicare, income related monthly adjustment amount. Think of it as this. It's a surcharge on your Part B premium when your income is too high. And then the other dark horse is called net investment income tax. And this is an extra 3.8% tax when your income goes above a certain threshold. Now, as a current working physician, you're likely already paying that. So just so you know that, depending on where your income is, but you're likely already paying that on your taxes. But why is the Roth beautiful here? Well, once again, if we get near these thresholds, we can always tap into our Roth to keep them below it. And that Medicare surcharge is actually a 2-year look back. So if you're going to apply in 2023, it's going to use your 2021 income. So just keep that in mind. But with the Roth, you can pull out that extra income to get you to the finish line for a given year while staying below these thresholds. So number 6, avoiding the dark horses. And again, just one of those great hidden gems inside of your Roth IRA. Number 7, extra flexibility. The Roth IRA is your utility player. Your contributions are always accessible, completely tax-free and penalty-free. So if you're saving directly to a Roth IRA, it's accessible immediately. If you did a backdoor Roth IRA, which we label as a conversion, remember each conversion has a 5-year period, but you can always get access to those contributions. For the gains will always have its own 5-year rule as well. So you have to have it for 5 years, and then you also have to be over the age of 59.5. So the gains might be a little bit more inaccessible early on in your investing lifetime, but after 59.5, that all opens up for you. These are all what we call qualified distributions in your Roth IRA. And while the Roth IRA should be treated like a retirement account, the reason why it is such a utility player is because you can get access to it in different circumstances, whether it's the contributions that we noted earlier, but there's even ways to get to it when you purchase a home or for college expenses. The utility player is the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is a utility player. So take advantage of this account, get started sooner than later so that you can get that compounding growth really fired up inside of your Roth. Last but not least, it's one that's not going to benefit you, but it's going to benefit your heirs. And this is why we call it a great estate planning tool. I'm going to keep it short and simple here. It is a great asset to die with, because when you would die with this account and it transfers on to your beneficiaries, they get that bucket of assets completely tax-free. Not many assets you can do that with, right? Essentially, you get life insurance, depending if there's step up in basis and some other things, but for the most part, it's one of your best accounts, if not the best account to die with. So we're going to end on a morbid note here. Number 8 is going to be a fantastic estate planning tool, which is the Roth IRA. Just one more section before we close up, and just more or less how I want you to think about the Roth IRA from a generational standpoint. So we have more context to this in the blog post and the show notes below, but the 3 main bullets we put here are tax-free source of retirement income. Speaks for itself, right? Take advantage of the lower tax brackets now. I would plug that one in while you're in training. I would then plug in, this is where the backdoor Roth IRA is so powerful. The backdoor Roth IRA doesn't waste any tax-free savings per se, right? You're actually just taking advantage of another savings bucket, but you're not removing any of your tax benefits. That's the beauty of the backdoor Roth IRA. And then the third one on there is having more flexibility in retirement. I think we covered that one really well when we scoot up through all of those. That's where I think that is so vital. And it's some of those things that we don't think about yet either, because in that example, we're not thinking that far in advance. And then for our baby boomer physicians, this is another group that we work with. While we don't put it on the website per se, we still get a lot of physicians much closer to retirement age that want to work with us. And this is what we list for the main benefits for our baby boomer physicians. And that's bypass the RMDs, so required minimum distributions. That's where those Roth conversions are extremely powerful. Lower your sources of taxable income retirement. So again, trying to avoid those dark horses, trying to get tax credits. That's what we're plugging in there. And then preserving retirement savings for the future. Kind of what we ended there on that morbid note for number 8 for the estate planning tool. But this is a fantastic account to leave behind for the next generation. And we have plenty of clients right now that are actually doing Roth conversions to a Roth that they don't even plan to use. They actually plan to use it completely as an inheritance tool. So just some big important notes there from a generational perspective on why we really love the Roth IRA. I know I've said it numerous times throughout this video and even in the blog post on it's just such a great utility player. So those are some of the big benefits we see from a generational standpoint inside of that Roth IRA. And there you have it, Roth IRA strategies for physicians. This is one of our more complicated videos. This one was one of our more complicated blog posts. And whenever you're trying to take it to the next level of strategies and you bring in tax planning, heck, we even noted a little bit on estate planning, it's hard to get at the details because it's really going to be specific to your situation. But bring up some of these topics to your tax advisor, to your advisor, walk through these together, see if any of these or maybe a few of these could be a good match for you. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me here for the last 15 minutes or so. Now would be a great time to subscribe to our channel. If you click on the little bell icon, you also get a notification every time we have a new video go live. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next video.